Today on Deeper Dives, you're going to meet writer, producer, record executive Billy Mann. Billy has written or co-written some of the most famous songs of the last decade and a half. Welcome to Deeper Dives. Deeper Dives is all about how one elevates themselves to have that career that they dream of that then becomes a reality. You're the guy who started in Philly, playing a guitar and doing that thing. How did you start as a musician first? And then how did you pivot when your solo career didn't go exactly as you planned, yet you didn't give up? Where did you find that strength?
Well, I think it all comes down to how much you love music. I think when you look at careers that last versus the careers that don't, and by the way, I don't think it's exclusive to music. I think it's athletes. I think it's people in finance. If you love it, then you're going to find a way to pivot. And typically, just like any startup, what you start off doing and where it ends up is usually a very different place. But the through line, I think, for me was I loved music, and through my greatest success as an artist was failing as an artist. And I've said this so many times. When I was signed to a label, I was like my own cadaver and the med student at the same time. Like, I was working on myself. I was understanding the way the music industry worked. I met people like Sharon and you along the way. And what I really realized is how much I loved the whole ecosystem, and that what mattered to me was that I was going to be involved in music one way or another. And that is a different thing than when you start off singing or writing and you just have these sort of dreams of attention seeking, motivated dreams of being on the top of some mountain somewhere saying, look at me, versus when you really have a career, you are the mountain. And the mountain is really what you aspire to be a part of.
So you were saying, like, when you started out, you and your guitar, going across the country, going all over Europe. I mean, what were the biggest lessons you learned just going from town to town, playing your music?
I mean, it's always romantic when you look back from a place where everything is great. It's like, from my air-conditioned life now, it's fantastic. But it was scary. I didn't have a plan B. And I think, on the one hand, that's very useful, because when you're so focused and driven towards an outcome, you'll figure out whatever the delta is in the equation, you're going to try to identify it. But playing on the street for money, it's super sobering. But then again, there's a clip of me and Patty Griffin playing in a bar in St. Louis, and just like nothing but people talking. I mean, we're like Grammy level people now, but at the time, nobody cared. And we played on. And I think the ability to play on is something that I do think we're at a little bit of a risk in the social media and the digital world, because on the one hand, you get feedback immediately and you can reach people immediately. On the other hand, there's no heartbeat to what comes back and what you give out. There's like this digital wall between you and people, and playing on the street, when you do connect or people do gather around, it's that experience is, I think that's music at its core, is the tribal human engagement. So I think I learned in real stark terms what accountability is like, and whether you connect with an audience or you don't, playing open mic nights or on the street. But I wouldn't trade it.
People in business often treat artists as if they have no sense of business. They like to believe that, because then they could use that to make the artist diminished and do better in negotiation. What would you say to artists about letting the people know that they know what they're talking about business now?
I mean, for the first few years, I sat in rooms where business conversations were had, and I didn't say anything. And I thought the best thing I can do is just sit there. No one would ever accuse me of looking pretty, but I would just sit there and listen and listen. And look, the first contract I signed was terrible. It was terrible. So my business acumen was a result of being broke, needing the opportunity, and not having choices. For a lot of artists, there are a lot more choices now. And there's a good side and a bad side to the digital world. Well, let's start with the upside. Back in the day, in the history of the business, and I came in just at the tail end of this, if you wanted your music to reach the masses, to reach beyond your local city or wherever you lived in, you needed the major distribution companies to provide that. And they basically held it hostage. Right now, the three of us, we could write a song right now, and it would be instantly distributed globally in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
By the way, the song could be terrible, but it doesn't matter. And
But
by
it's
the way,
out there.
but not only is it out there, but that's why we're living in this environment. You have 60 to 80,000 new tracks a day that are released.
I don't think people realize that.
So I think where artists have leverage, and they're seeing their leverage, is through a series of new models that exist now as a result of free distribution to the world. The way a new artist grabs the paradigm, today's paradigm, with both hands is by realizing that they have the control. The question is the pain threshold. How much can they withstand the patience required to build an audience? If you can build 100 fans, 1,000 fans, now 1 million followers, 2 million followers, what can you do with it? And I think that's really where we are right now as an industry. And I think that what you would look for, I think, for an artist is you'd look for people that are passionate about you the way you are passionate about you. And everything else is essentially a numbers game. What I didn't understand when I started was that I had any choices, but I didn't have choices.
Right.
And now there are all of these choices, including new models, companies that are funding things speculatively, that will do assessments of how much you have on social media and how much they will advance you for you to use the money yourself. This is a new world.
How did you holding on to your value system let you go on a path to an artist that you ended up meeting because you turned down a big money opportunity?
Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a family person.
Big time.